Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. Today's video is going to be a little different and it was actually inspired, and the idea came from Jaclyn Hill. She did a completely matte side of her face and a highlighted side on the other to kind of compare which one actually looks better on her and you or whomever, and determine if the highlighted side actually does it age you or does the matte side age you. It's going to be different for everybody, you know, but it's a nice way to kind of see your own face and what actually may not work for you, but you never really saw it because it wasn't in that contrasting state. So I'm going to do that today. I thought that would be fun. So we're going to do completely matte on one and a highlighted side, and I have all my products. So if you want to see me do this, then keep on watching. Okay, so I have two primers. I'm going to do matte on this side and highlighted on this side. So I have my Perfectly Posh Under Wonder Matte Finish Pore Primer, and I'm going to keep that on my right side and apply just a little bit of this if I even have any left. I don't tend to do a lot of matte, so this was, you know, other than some matte foundations, and I do have some powders, I generally like something a little bit more glowy, because even though in the summer I tend to have a oily T-zone, my skin can be a lot more dehydrated and more normal, leaning to dry in the winter time. So I tend to like a glowy side. So this shall be interesting to see which side actually I prefer. This other side with the Milani Prime Light Face Primer is like a strobing type of primer. I'm going to be very glowy on this side, and actually this is so cheesy, but I have a ring on this side of my face. It's kind of very, you know, shiny, so I'll know which side of my face I need to make sure to highlight. When you do these kinds of one side of the face, you get into the mode and you may forget, so I just wanted to be cautious that I didn't just start putting highlighter on one side. Both of these are supposed to be pore perfecting, even the strobing one. I have already done my brows. I did my brows because I was trying out a new brow product. They're off in color. There is a reason why that is the case, because of the product I was trying was not quite the right color, but we're working with it. Before we move on to applying the foundation, I do prefer this side of my face, the more illuminated side, because I just like that extra like hydration to my skin. So I think I'll always prefer something a little more illuminating, something that has a little more tackiness to it. This one is smooth and it feels nice, but I do like a little bit more of the glowy side. That's my first thought. For foundations, for the glow side, of course, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. It's one of my favorites at the drugstore. And then for the matte side, I'm using another favorite, is the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. I love this one. It's a normal to oily, so it's matte, but it's actually not so drying and like completely void of any moisture on your skin. I actually like this one a lot, but this is the only matte type of foundation I had in my collection, so we're going with this. I think that these should be a color match. They're completely different numbers. Obviously, it's different brands. So I have Classic Ivory and Nude Beige. Let's hope. I am going to apply both sides with my damp sponge. I'm just going to make sure to use different sides so I don't transfer product, because I just prefer to apply my foundation with a damp sponge. It applies better. So there is the matte side. I mean, you can see natural glow just because I am shearing this out with a sponge. I think you'll see a big difference once I put the Infallible one on this side. So let's go ahead and apply that. Let me grab the other part of my sponge. I think this will be a good color match. So we have two sides here, and the big difference I see in this area right here of my cheek, I can see a little bit more, even though this is a matte and poreless type foundation. It has settled, not settled, but it just accentuates a little bit more pores and texture in the skin and some fine lines. But this one just looks a little bit more glowy, so it kind of reflects away those things, if that makes any sense. I think that's why I like glow your foundations, because light bounces off of it and you can't see a lot of the imperfections. But let's move on. I'm gonna go ahead, let me just throw on my concealer and then we're gonna go in with powder. Okay, I have the concealer on. Let's go ahead and get our powders. So the powder that leaves more of like a skin-like finish that I love is the MAC Mineralize Skin Finish. I am the shade medium. That's my favorite. And then for the matte one, I don't tend to have a lot of matte powders, but I do own the Catrice Prime and Fine Mattifying Waterproof Transparent Powder. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm even gonna do the under eyes this way too. I have a feeling I'm not gonna like the matte on the under eyes just because I am crepey under there. So I am gonna first get one side of my little mini beauty blender to do my matte side. I always do the alien face, so it is very smoothing. It doesn't settle into any fine lines. I mean, that looks nice. And then let me get my other part of the sponge, go into the MAC one, do my alien face. One is more brightening actually. They're the two. The MAC one added a little bit of color just because it is in the shade medium. And then the Catrice one is a little bit more illuminated. Both actually look evenly dry. I'm just very dry under my under eyes. So let's actually go ahead. Let's just do the face. So I'm just going to take the mattifying powder and put that everywhere. And I don't normally do this, so I'm mattifying everything. That's one side. Let me clean off that brush, use my color swatch, and now let me go into the MAC one. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll change up the powder because this still looks matte to me. So I'm actually going to change things up. Let me just put this all over, and I'm going to add a ambient lighting powder on top because that is a finishing powder. I didn't even think about that. I should have used that as opposed to this one. I mean, I do like the MAC one because actually I add more coverage. I think that the matte side is looking a little bit more dry, but when you're looking at it, it doesn't look any different. So let's grab my ambient lighting powder in Ethereal Light and let's just put that over on top. So I'm gonna go ahead, let me go ahead and do the eyes and then I'll come back because the eyes aren't important in this. I'm just gonna do an easy eyeshadow look and then we'll come back and we're gonna do some highlighting, things like that. We're also gonna use some bronzer, a matte and a non-matte. So let me go ahead and do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did a very natural eye because I am going with a bold lip today. So for blush, I'm gonna combine two because I was trying to match up a matte blush and a not so matte blush. So I had to mix a couple together. So for the matte one, I'm using Tarte Exposed mixed with the Makeup Geek Bliss shade to get the matching color for the powder blush in Blossomtime Rose from Milani. And I'm going to apply the matte side first. Now let me go ahead with the Milani one, which has more of a sheen to it and a glow. Let's wrap things up here. Let's do the bronzer. For my matte one, I'm using the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil matte bronzer, and I'm going to apply that. The color is going to be a little off of these bronzers, but you got to do what you got to do. Everything kind of looks the same on my skin. I'm not seeing a whole lot of glow really on this side versus this side, even though I'm using different products. And I'm going to go in with the BareMinerals Invisible Bronze. And this one definitely has more of a glow, natural finish. So now here is the part that's really going to make the difference. It's the highlighted side. So I'm going in with the Lorac highlighter in Starlight, and I'm just going to highlight this side of my face as I normally would. And we'll probably go a little bit more than usual just to see the difference. Get one nostril. This is kind of hard. One Cupid's bow. Brow bone. A little bit on the forehead. We do the inner corner too with the same highlighter. I'm going to take a little bit on the center. Already I like the highlighted side. I mean, maybe I went a little crazy on the nose, but I was just trying to, there we go. You can definitely see a little more texture on this side, but I think that the glowy side, I feel a little more youthful. Well, let me take that back. I feel younger as an adolescent age on this side because I feel like this is more glamorous, and when you're a young kid, you shouldn't be really wearing a lot of makeup like that. Ooh, I look a little crazy over here. Let me tone that down a little bit. So I feel like this is just more glamorous and more adult. I don't think it ages me. I just think it is more adult. But I do like that extra glow, especially on the eye. I think it makes me look more awake, but this makes me look more like a child. Does that make sense? At least that's kind of where I'm seeing it. But I can definitely see why if you had a lot of texture on your skin, this is going to really age you, or if you had a severe amount of fine lines. I mean, I have fine lines, but I can see them on the highlighted side and on the matte side. So that's not all changing it. I like having a glow to my skin. I think it makes me look less drier. I think it depends on what highlighter you're using as well. Use one that kind of melts into your skin. It'd be interesting to do a cream and a powder side. I might do that at some point too. So here is the glow side. And here's the matte side. I mean, even though I have the same amount of makeup on, this one just makes me look like, oh, I'm going out. Oh, I have like actual plans. And this one's like, oh, I didn't have time to do the rest of my makeup. You think so far? Let's do the lips. Okay, I'm gonna do a dark lip just because I'm feeling it today. I'm gonna go in with a matte one and then go on a gloss on the glossier sides. I'm using Max Sin for my dark lip today, very fall. Okay, so I have a very dark oxblood type lipstick on, and now I'm gonna do a lip gloss. I'm gonna go in with Rimmel's Oh My Gloss in the shade, what shade is this? All Night Long, so it kind of mimics like a deeper reflective kind of color. Okay, so I have one like shinier side and the other matte. Now for setting spray, I'm going to use the Found Cosmetics Dewy Makeup Setting Spray on this side of the face. Just go in with Skindinavia Makeup Finishing Setting Spray. There you go. I have a matte side, which looks more like normal skin-like, and then I have the glowy side. The difference for me is my lip looks bigger on this side because a gloss is always going to make it look more plump. So I do like that a lot. I think it just changes the look of things and plumps up the lip, as opposed to this side that just makes it look more dry and less full. And then obviously the highlighting is really making, you know, the brow bone pop and things just look more awake in the eye. I like the highlighted side. I don't think it ages me or makes me look really old. I think I like the eye the best as opposed to this side. I think that it just looks more glamorous. Now for an everyday, I think I prefer the matte side just because why do you need to be all dialed up and have so much highlighter in your face for every day? I tend to like more glowy skin for day to day, but as far as the eye, this is what I would do every day anyways. The lip, I would probably still do a gloss because it's more comfortable than a matte lip. Nothing looks overly different as far as aging. Obviously, more product on this face makes it just look heavier because you can see things layered. So because I had more of a glowy bronzer, glowy blush, and then the highlighter, I can see more texture in my skin. Pores a little bit. This highlighter is actually really good, not accentuating a lot of texture, but it's there. I mean, and then this side, you can't really see it because there's just not as much product on there. You don't have that highlighter on there. But overall, as far as, you know, pores in the foundation, it looks the same to me. I think the highlighting on the forehead is accentuating those horizontal expression lines, and this looks a lot more smooth. So I would probably, yeah, you know, maybe not do as much highlighter if you're more mature, which I would do anyways, or use a liquid highlighter underneath the foundation before you put it on, just in those highlighted areas. You know, there's lots of little tips and tricks, but I think that was fun to kind of see the difference. But I love a good highlight, so I don't think I'll go away from doing that. I just think that one looks more glamorous and one looks more just natural every day. Like, I do like the matte, but I also really like the highlighted side. Yeah, that is it for me. Don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And of course, if you are new today and you have not subscribed, you know where that button lives. And also don't forget to hit that little bell. That will notify you when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.